Good morning, friends and fellow traders. This is Doug Campbell with Right Way Options, and this is the morning market preparation video for August 14th, 2018. So yesterday just turned out to be a nasty battle and lots of whipsaws. We started up yesterday, everything was looking good for a little bit. I had suggested in the morning video yesterday to be careful because there was a possibility that the lows overnight in the futures could be tested. Unfortunately, that turned out to be correct. And after that morning push up where everything was looking good, we received a nasty whipsaw, pushing us right back down. Here's our morning open. We were moving up and then boom, nasty whipsaw down. We had several of those whipsaws during the day, making very challenging price action. Now we finished up the day with bearish patterns. If you look at the diamonds here, just about a bearish engulfing pattern candle. The SPY, just about a bearish engulfing candle. In fact, I would call that a bearish engulfing candle. If we look at the Qs, we ended up with a bearish shooting star pattern below resistance. And go one step further with IWM, and we end up with a bearish engulfing pattern. And all of those would suggest that we should see more downside this morning, but not so easy. We get a report from the White House that they are moving forward with an agreement with Mexico, ending the trade jitters between U.S. and Mexico. So the market is decidedly bullish this morning, whipping to the other side and making, well, for a very challenging market. Currently, Dow futures are suggesting not quite a 100-point gap up at the open. Keep in mind that doesn't really change anything on these candles yet, and actually could set us up for more whipsaws. By the way, the gap up this morning is really nothing more than an overnight whipsaw. So be really careful how you approach the day. There's that old saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And with that, we have just one of those situations where we don't want to be fooled again. It's really easy to get caught up in that morning fear of missing out feeling and jumping just a little bit too soon, but we don't want to see that happen today. We're going to have to approach this market with a little bit of caution. Let's take a look at the VIX. Now the VIX, as of yesterday, suggesting a pretty substantial move up the last 3 days here in fear, as those jitters really start to creep up around these high levels where we're pushing against resistance levels and then showing failure. So I suspect that will pull back relatively sharply today. But remember, we still have the potential for those intraday whipsaws that could be just downright nasty. Let's take a look at T21 22. Whoops. T2122, that 4-week new high and new low ratio. As you can see, we're pushing down here toward those reversal zones, bullish reversal zones, but we didn't make it all the way down there. Now we're gapping up this morning, just adding more confusion to this market. So if you're finding yourself being frustrated and confused and seeing your account getting chopped up, well, you're not alone. It is very frustrating, and it's a very challenging market, particularly if you're relatively new to trading and have not seen anything quite like this. It's one of those things that you can just get so frustrated in and push. You're forcing so hard to try and make some money in the market, and all you're doing is battling back and forth and watching your account be chopped to pieces. At times like this, if you're feeling that way, if you're overly frustrated, it's a good time to just stand aside and wait for some direction to be established here in the market before doing any more trading, because I just hate to see folks lose money in the market like this, trying to swing trade, because they're really fighting a choppy market that doesn't know what it wants to do. And if we're in there battling um, with the bulls and bears as retail traders, we will lose. So make sure you're being very careful. Make sure you're trying to avoid that fear of missing out, that you're focusing on the price action that's actually showing up in the chart, and determining what is going to happen there. Based on that price action. I just switched that there just for a second to a 2-day chart. If you look at that 2-day chart and you clean up the noise, well, that is decidedly bearish at the moment. But we throw in all of that volatility, and boy, anything is possible. And as this news continues to roll out, anything could be going on. Now, on the economic calendar today, we don't have a whole lot going on here. We had the NFIB Small Business Optimism Index report this morning early, and then import-export prices. Import prices are expected to increase by 1%. Export prices expected to increase by 2%. So I think it's probably unlikely that's going to move the market around much this morning. And then we have the Red Book and a couple bond auctions. So not much going on there. However, we do have a considerable amount of earnings today, over 250 companies reporting earnings, and a real high focus on retail today. So keep an eye on that. I do think Home Depot has reported this morning. Home Depot gapping up on their earnings report. So as these results continue to roll in, that can certainly affect the overall market. So watch these closely, be very, very careful. And, I just got to say, there's no need to rush into this market. When we're looking at bearish engulfing candles and then getting a completely contradictory move in the futures this morning, there's no need to rush. Make sure that you don't chase into that morning push. Make sure you're letting that morning rush happen, and then watching for clues for real buying going on to enter those positions. Some good follow through. Don't get caught in this whip and watch your account just be chopped into little tiny pieces until this market kind of figures out what it wants to do here. I suspect, and this is my inclination, I suspect that the market wants to attack these highs. Remember, we have resistance level up here that I think the market would really like to attack. And not even so much in the Dow as the SPY. The SPY really wants, I believe, to attack this level up here, that all-time high. And we're going to have to watch that closely if that attack comes and breaks through up there. That would just be awesome. So kind of keep an eye on that. Also, the Qs. The Qs are very, very close to those all-time highs. And I just think the market wants to go there. Whether or not that actually happens, and I'm certainly not going to bias myself based on that. I will trade the price action I see, but my inclination is the market does want to go up and at least test those highs, and we will see what happens if we can finally get it going. I also want to recognize that, for example, this current trend here, by the way, low, higher high, higher low, that begins this new trend here. We broke the trend over here, that we could continue this choppy price action all the way over to this trend before we move up or down. So please keep in mind, there's no rush. There's absolutely no rush. We don't have to chase. We can be very thoughtful and mechanical on how we move forward. So watch those charts carefully. So with that, everyone, hey, I know a lot of confusion in the market. I know a lot of folks are feeling frustrated. You're not alone. a market like this can certainly do that to you. Please be careful. Please protect your capital. With that, everyone, I want to wish you all a great day. I want to wish you great profits. And if this is the first time you've seen these videos, do me a favor. Click that subscribe button on YouTube. Follow me button on Facebook. Click those thumbs up buttons and drop a comment. I really do appreciate that. And everyone, have an awesome, awesome day. I wish you all great success. We'll talk to you all bright and early Wednesday morning. Take care now.